Good evening. I'm Jake Lopez. Today, I'm going to be discussing the growth in Ghana, what to look at for your business, and what you need to know, and how to transition your business into the capital city of Accra or Ghana itself. Again, I'm Jake Lopez. I'm presenting for Bcomm 3306. So we are going to discuss travel status, do's and don'ts, different things to really think about when you're going into Ghana, the political structure, different things like that. So first, we're going to discuss creating a health plan. There are COVID regulations going in and out of Ghana. There's just some things you have to keep in mind when you are traveling nowadays, taking those shots, taking those precautions, taking those immunizations, and really making sure that everybody stays healthy. You also want to get your immunizations for common diseases in Ghana that are a little bit different than those of the U.S. Some of those that we see are yellow fever, dengue, as well as malaria, which is a big one with all the mosquitoes. Right. Now, when you conduct your business, you want to conduct it as if you are in the U.S. They do have a Democratic Party. They do have a system set up similar to the U.S. with a lot of Western influence within their business, within their culture, within their political background. They do carry themselves the way most countries here in the Western area of the globe do as well. So we do see that there's a 60% of the population that is of the age of 15 to 64. Within that population, we are looking at 28.9 million people. 66.7% of this 15 to 64 age range is working class citizens. So we do see a large influx of people who are in the working class. A good percentage of those are after those 66.7. The last 20, what do we have? 22.3. You're looking at retired, older people. We do have some poor and low class, as well as some high class 1%ers. And so within that 66.7% with that working class, what we really see is this influx of people that are willing to work, willing to get into new infrastructure, new industries, and really grow that. We also do see a high power structure. I'll discuss this a little bit in our next slide when we talk about the Hofstede method. So the Hofstede method is a way to compare countries with 5 key points: power distance, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, as well as indulgence. Now we can see that the power distance is at 80. For the U.S., we do have a power distance of 40. So a big difference is our individualism as well as a long-term orientation. So individualism is sitting at 15 for Ghana and long-term orientation 4, while the U.S. is 91 and 26 respectively. So that difference between that 15 and 91 in that individualism is really shows how set in their ways and set in culture and religious beliefs and different things that are keeping them in the norms in Ghana compared to the U.S. A lot of people branch out from where they've grown, what their parents teach them, what their grandparents teach them, different things like that. In Ghana, they really stick to those beliefs that their families have instilled in them. We see a little bit more of outreach to hands and seeking out new opportunities. And that's why with our long-term orientation, we see that it's very low, and that means that they're looking to stay in their same structure, not looking for new ideas, new plans, new things that are going to take them to the next step, or, sorry, not next step, but take them further into their industry goals. That power distance, like I spoke about earlier, is an 80. What that means is the people in the higher class, the people in power, they hold that power, they contain that power, they make sure that what they say kind of goes. So those people in charge are really in charge. Those people in charge are structuring everything and then how the country's going to run. Compared to the U.S. at 40, and we have more voting rights, we have more ability to speak on our beliefs and what we want within our country. Supply chain barriers, and that's what we're going to be discussing next. We're going to discuss natural disasters, untrained management, as well as complexities that have been involved with these other issues. So natural disasters, with Ghana, they do rely on sea travel for most of their imports and exports. With this, there's a lot of volcanic eruptions within the area, within the sea. Some of those volcanic eruptions slow the speed of transportation. This was seen when Boeing was not able to receive some of their airline parts, seeing a $11 million loss in their industry. It really affects how the industry is able to run and continue to grow. Untrained management. When I say untrained management, I don't mean that they aren't willing to learn. I'm just saying they lack the knowledge at this time. So with the increase in infrastructure, with the increase in volume, increase in speed at which they need to process goods and infrastructure, it's hard to keep manage of that, especially when that hasn't been a key point in the past. We really see how the management and the team is trying to grow and create new systems to streamline the supply chain barriers. And when we do see those streamlined technology, we do see some complexities, and some complexities did create new issues where there was too much going on in the technology, where they were trying to do too much with technology, and that slowed down the supply chain once again, having to restructure how they set things up and how they set up their pay. Now they do have a paperless border for their imports, so when you do come, everything is electronic. That does help the speed at which things come in and out of port, knowing exactly what is on those ships, and it should have been logged before and after. Now that is something that we do see some structural flaws when some employees just don't exactly do everything that they need to do, and then that hurts the business itself. Now, how it benefits. So we're going to see a creation of more revenue. There's tax incentives, business logistics, as well as supply chain reservations. And this last point is just to remember how you're going to structure your business and how it can benefit you when you do see the new supply chain reservations. Now, companies registered as free zone developers or entrepreneurs don't pay CIT within the first 10 years. After the first 10 years, they do see a 15% payment that they must pay to the country on exports, as well as 25% on domestic goods. 25%, on profits on domestic goods. Now, there are exemptions from customs import duties on plant and manufacturing when moving into the country, so these are some tax incentives that we see. The GDP of Ghana is $77.5 billion. That it ranks them 75th in the world. They do have a lower supply cost due to it being through the sea. However, you do have to note that your supply chain is going to be a little bit slower than some. But the benefits of having a lower cost, as well as a lower cost in infrastructure and lower cost in obviously your percentage of exports and your percentage of domestic product gross revenue profits that do end up getting removed from your bottom line. These are some things that really push that growth in Ghana and bringing people into the area to really show them how to create these new businesses and infrastructure. Thank you.